The highway stretched into the dark, endless and empty, the glow of my headlights cutting through the black like a blade. I liked it that way. Driving gave me peace, something I hadn't had much of since I left the military. Long stretches of road, the hum of the engine, the solitude. It was the closest I got to quiet, but quiet never lasts. I'd been watching my mirrors for the last 30 miles. Something wasn't right. A black SUV, no headlights, just a shadow in the distance, keeping pace with me, tailgating but not getting close, watching. I've been in enough bad situations to recognize when I'm being stalked. This wasn't just some impatient driver. This was a setup. I exhaled slow, rolling my shoulders. No need to panic, not yet. But my instincts were already talking to me, and my instincts have never been wrong. I checked my speed, 65 miles per hour, too fast for a casual tail, too slow for someone in a rush. Then, up ahead, trouble. A semi-truck blocking both lanes. No lights, no hazard signals, just sitting there like a roadblock. And I was headed straight for it. My grip tightened on the wheel. It was a trap. I slowed, scanning for an exit. But there was nothing but desert on either side. Then, the black SUV behind me turned on its brights. The sudden flood of light hit my mirrors, blinding me. My chest tightened. Time to move. I dropped gears and hit the brakes hard. The semi up ahead wasn't just blocking me in, it was forcing me to stop. The SUV behind me sped up. Another one pulled onto the shoulder from the left. A third SUV emerged from the darkness up ahead, cutting off any chance of squeezing through the blockade. I was boxed in. That's when they stepped out. 6 men, tactical gear, rifles, masks, not amateurs, not random hijackers. These guys were military trained. And that told me one thing. They weren't here for the cargo. They were here for me. I let out a slow breath. Stay focused. The leader stepped forward, moving like a man who had done this before. Confident, calculated, dangerous. He had short-cropped hair, a thick jaw, and a stance that told me he'd been in the shit before. He raised a hand. His men spread out, forming a perimeter around my truck. "Step out, driver," he called, voice steady. "We don't want any trouble." I chuckled. "Yeah? Then why the guns?" His lips twitched like he wanted to smile. "Precaution." "That's funny," I said, "because I don't recall signing up for a welcoming committee." "Step out," he repeated, this time firmer. "Let's make this easy." Easy? I almost laughed. Nothing about this was going to be easy. I sized them up. 6 armed men, 3 vehicles, rifles, sidearms, tactical vests. Too professional for gangbangers, too smooth for mercs. These guys were ex-military, probably special forces, probably like me. I've been out for 5 years, but the fight never really leaves you. And right now, every nerve in my body told me exactly how this was going to go down. They thought they had me pinned. They thought I was just a trucker. They had no idea who the hell they were dealing with. I took a deep breath and ran through my options. Option 1, get out, comply, and pray they didn't shoot me in the head. Option 2, try to talk my way out. Not likely. Option 3, fight. I chose option 3. I reached under the seat, feeling the cold steel of my sidearm, a Glock 19, custom grip, suppressed barrel. Not a lot of rounds, but enough. My other hand hovered over the emergency air brakes. If I was going to make a move, it had to be now. The leader took another step forward. "Last chance, driver." I smiled. Funny, I was about to say the same thing. Then I slammed the brakes. The sudden force rocked the entire truck. The engine screamed as my rig lurched forward. The men closest to the cab stumbled back. That was all the time I needed. I yanked the door handle and kicked it open, hard. It smashed into one guy's face, knocking him flat. Before they could recover, I jumped out. The nearest gunman raised his rifle, too slow. I grabbed his wrist, twisted hard. A sickening pop as his elbow snapped. His gun dropped. I caught it midair and turned it on the others. 3 quick shots. One hit a knee, another took a shoulder. They weren't dead, but they were down. 3 left. They finally snapped out of their shock. One raised his rifle. Too late. I rolled behind the cab, using the truck for cover. Bullets ripped through metal, sparks flying. They had firepower. I had experience. I wasn't going down easy. I hit the ground low and fast, rolling under the rig as more bullets chewed through the air. Came up on the other side. Gunfire lit up the darkness, but they were shooting where I had been, not where I was now. Rookie mistake. I swung wide, keeping to the shadows, moving silent. One of them broke off, scanning the area. I struck fast. My knife slid into his side, clean, efficient. He gurgled, dropped, 2 left. The leader wasn't panicking yet, but I saw the shift in his stance. He wasn't dealing with a trucker, he was dealing with something else. "Who the hell are you?" he muttered. I stepped into the light, wiping blood off my blade. Just a guy who doesn't like being told what to do. He didn't hesitate. He lunged. I was faster. I caught his arm, twisting him into the dirt, his own weight working against him. The last gunman raised his rifle. I grabbed the leader's pistol from his belt and shot first. The gunman dropped. 1 left. The leader groaned, spitting blood. "You don't even know what you're hauling, do you?" he sneered. I grabbed his collar and hauled him up. "Tell me." He smirked. "You're already dead." Then he slammed something into his chest, a GPS tracker, a signal pinging our location. More were coming. And the night was far from over. The leader's smirk was still on his bloodied face as the GPS tracker blinked red, pulsing like a heartbeat in the dark. A call for backup. More were coming. I clenched my jaw. Minutes. That's all I had before things got worse. I shoved him off me, his body hitting the pavement with a grunt, and grabbed his rifle. Fully loaded. Good. The wreckage around me told the story. 6 men down. Some still breathing, some wouldn't be getting up again, but their friends, they wouldn't wait for negotiations. I needed a plan. I scanned the road. My rig was still running, a few bullet holes scarring the cab, but nothing critical. The trailer was intact. That meant the cargo was still inside, and that meant they weren't leaving until they had it. I turned back to the leader, who was struggling to prop himself up on one elbow, wiping blood from his mouth. I put the barrel of his own rifle against his chest. "Who's coming?" He chuckled. The bastard actually chuckled. "You think this is a normal job?" he rasped. "You have no idea what you're carrying, do you?" "Enlighten me." He spat blood onto the asphalt. "You're already dead." Wrong answer. I grabbed his vest and yanked him forward. "You just had 6 guys try and fail. Tell me, what makes the next wave any different?" He winced but kept grinning. "You were special forces, right? You know how this works?" My stomach tightened. He knew about my past. That meant this was personal. I pressed the rifle into his gut. "Who do you work for? You think I'd tell you?" His eyes flicked past me, toward the blinking tracker. "You should start running." I exhaled through my nose. Killing him wouldn't change anything, but it sure as hell would feel good. Instead, I grabbed the GPS tracker off his vest and crushed it under my boot. A spark of static, then silence. His smirk faltered. "That won't stop them," he said. "They already know you're here." "Good," I muttered. "Let them come." I jogged back to the truck, heart hammering, every second stretching thin. I pulled open the driver's side door and climbed in, rifle resting in my lap. The engine purred like a war machine, waiting for orders. I could leave. Just gun it down the highway, put as much distance as possible between me and them. But that wouldn't stop them. They wouldn't just let me go. I needed to see what the hell was in the trailer. I reached for the dash, flipped the switch to kill the rig's interior lights, and checked the mirrors. Nothing yet, but I could feel them coming. I grabbed my Glock from under the seat and climbed out again, jogging toward the trailer doors. Heavy-duty padlock, intact, not tampered with. I fished out the key, slid it in, and twisted. Click, the lock fell away. I took a breath and threw the doors open. What I saw made my stomach drop. Inside the trailer, not weapons, not drugs, something worse. A single reinforced steel container, locked tight, reinforced with military-grade latches. A Department of Defense emblem was stamped across the side, and in bold stenciled letters, "Top Secret, Classified, Hazard Level 4. My pulse quickened. Hazard Level 4? That wasn't just sensitive cargo, that was government black site level shit. I ran my fingers over the latches, fingerprint scanner, key code entry. This wasn't something I could just crack open, but if they were willing to send kill squads after it, I already knew. Whatever was inside, it was something worth dying for. Or worse, something worth killing for. I stepped back, mind racing. This was why they wanted me dead. Because I wasn't just transporting a package, I was the only loose end. Then, headlights. far down the highway, glowing like the eyes of predators in the night. At least 4 vehicles, moving fast. I clicked the trailer doors shut and locked them back up. No time to waste. I sprinted back to the cab, throwing myself into the driver's seat. The SUVs roared closer. I fired up the engine. No more games. They wanted a fight? They were about to get one. I slammed the truck into gear. The rig lurched forward, tires screeching as the weight shifted, the engine growling like a beast waking up. The SUVs gained ground fast, headlights flooding my mirrors. One of them swung out left, trying to flank. I gritted my teeth, waited for the right moment, then yanked the wheel hard. The trailer swung wide, catching the SUV's front bumper. It spun out, tires shrieking, flipping onto its side, one down. The others weren't deterred. Gunfire ripped through the night, rounds shattering my side mirror. I ducked, gripping the wheel tighter. These guys weren't holding back. Neither was I. A second SUV pulled up on my right, trying to force me off the road. Not happening. I reached for the emergency brake, timed it perfectly, then yanked hard. The truck fishtailed, sending up a storm of dust and debris. The SUV driver tried to correct, but he was too close. He clipped my trailer and spun out, flipping into the desert. 2 down. The last 2 weren't playing games anymore. One pulled ahead, blocking the road. The other pulled up beside me, windows rolling down, gun barrels flashing. I ducked as bullets tore through the windshield. Enough of this. I reached for the rifle in the passenger seat, rolled down my window, and fired. 2 bursts, center mass. The gunman dropped, the SUV swerved, spinning out into the ditch. 3 down, that left 1, the one ahead of me. They thought they had me trapped. They were dead wrong. I pressed my foot all the way down. The rig thundered forward, gaining speed. The driver in front of me realized too late what was happening. I wasn't stopping. 80,000 pounds of steel and fury barreled into his SUV like a freight train. The impact obliterated the vehicle, sending it tumbling off the road in a cloud of fire and metal. And just like that, it was over. I slowed the rig, breath ragged, hands tight on the wheel. The bodies, the wreckage, the burning SUVs behind me. I knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. I grabbed the CB mic. "Dispatch, we need to talk." Silence. Then, "Yeah, Logan, we do." I exhaled, staring at the road ahead. Whatever I was carrying, it was worth killing for. And now, it was mine. I drove through the wreckage without looking back. I knew what I'd done. Bodies, burning SUVs, the scent of gasoline and gunpowder clinging to the night air. It didn't bother me, not anymore. The only thing I cared about now was the truth. What the hell was in that trailer? Who the hell wanted it bad enough to send trained killers after me? I grabbed the CB mic again, keeping my eyes on the road. "Dispatch, we need to talk." Silence. Then, "Logan, we told you not to stop." My grip tightened. "Yeah, well, I had company." Another pause, then a low sigh. "They find the cargo?" I glanced at the trailer in my side mirror, still intact. Number? But I did. The silence stretched longer this time. Then, finally, "Logan, pull over, now." I let out a dry chuckle. "Yeah, that's not happening." That wasn't a request. I was done listening. It was my turn to ask the questions. "Who the hell are these guys?" I snapped. "They're not random hijackers. They're trained, organized. You want to tell me why armed men are dying for my cargo?" "Logan, this isn't your fight." "Too late for that," I muttered. I reached under the seat, grabbing the lockbox I had taken from the trailer. The weight of it sat heavy in my lap. I popped the latch, flipped it open. The hard drive stared back at me. The top secret government files, and the photo of me. My blood ran cold. My name, my face, my military record, and at the bottom of the file, stamped in bold red letters, "Authorized for termination." I felt my pulse in my throat. They weren't after the cargo, they were after me. I gripped the CB mic. "You set me up," I growled. "Logan, you knew what was in this truck. You knew they'd come for it, and you sent me out here like a goddamn bait dog." "It's more complicated than that. Not from where I'm sitting." The file in my lap burned into my memory. It wasn't just my military records. It was what happened after. The ops I wasn't supposed to talk about. The men who went missing. The kill orders that were never officially written. And then, at the very bottom of the page, Haze has exceeded operational use. Terminate on sight. I clench my jaw, staring at the road. I was a loose end, I muttered. It wasn't personal, Logan. I laughed, a cold, humorless sound. The hell it wasn't. Another voice crackled over the radio. Driver, pull over. Not dispatch. A new voice, calm, precise, military. And that's when I saw them, in my rearview mirror, black helicopters, 2 of them, flying low, closing fast. Down the highway ahead, a convoy, military Humvees, rolling out from an unmarked road. They'd been waiting for me. This wasn't a hijacking anymore. It was an execution. I tightened my grip on the wheel. Options. I needed options. The helicopters closed in. Spotlights flared to life, blinding me. Logan Hayes, the voice over the radio continued, smooth as ice. You are in possession of classified government property. Pull over, step out of the vehicle, and surrender immediately. I exhaled slowly, then I clicked the mic. Come and get it. And I floored the gas. The rig surged forward, engine screaming. The helicopters kept pace overhead, their rotors slicing through the night like blades. The Humvees roared onto the highway, spreading out in formation, blocking my path. They wanted a fight. They were about to get one. I yanked the wheel hard. The trailer swung out wide, the weight shift sending shockwaves through the pavement. The lead Humvee couldn't stop in time. It clipped my trailer's bumper, flipping into the desert in a storm of metal and fire. One down. The second Humvee accelerated, trying to pull alongside me. The side door slid open, armed men inside, rifles raised. I grabbed my Glock, rolled down the window, and fired 3 clean shots. The driver jerked the wheel in panic. The Humvee veered left, straight into a guardrail. 2 down. The helicopters weren't backing off. Gunfire erupted from above, bullets ripping through my hood. The dashboard lit up with warning lights. My rig was taking damage. I needed to end this now. Up ahead, a bridge, narrow, barely wide enough for my rig. Perfect. I gritted my teeth, locked my grip on the wheel, and aimed straight for it. The helicopters closed in. The last Humvee pushed forward, trying to force me off the road. I let them get close. Then, at the last second, I swerved right. The trailer swung out like a wrecking ball. The Humvee didn't stand a chance. It slammed full force into the bridge railing, flipping over it, vanishing into the canyon below. 3 down, but the helicopters were still there. Their machine guns lit up again. I felt hot steel tear into my shoulder, pain, burning, but not enough to stop me. I slammed the gas harder. The bridge was seconds away. The helicopters moved to cut me off. I reached down, grabbed the detonator from the dead leader's vest, the same one that was wired to his tracker. I clicked the switch. The helicopters veered left, avoiding what they thought was a bomb. That's all I needed. I hit the bridge at full speed. The rig thundered across, tires screaming against the pavement. Then I yanked the wheel. The trailer jackknifed. The entire 18-wheeler skidded sideways, slamming into the railing, blocking the bridge completely. The helicopters had no time to react. One clipped the trailer's edge, spun out of control, then dropped. It vanished into the canyon below. The second helicopter pulled up hard, retreating. I sat there, breathing hard. Smoke, fire, a dead convoy, and me, still alive. I reached for the CB mic one last time. Dispatch, I think we're done here. Silence, then static. Finally. You just made yourself a very powerful enemy, Logan. I grinned through the blood on my lips. Yeah? Well, I've had worse. I reached for the gear shift, and I drove into the night. The road stretched ahead, dark and empty, just the way I liked it. The wreckage was behind me, burning SUVs, flipped Humvees, a fallen helicopter somewhere in the canyon. A small war had just played out on a forgotten highway, and somehow, I was still alive. But I knew better than to celebrate. I was a marked man now. They wouldn't stop hunting me, not after this. The truth sat heavy in my lap. The classified files, the hard drive, my name stamped with a termination order. This wasn't about the cargo. This was about me. I had been on their list for years. They were just waiting for the right time to clean up their mess. And tonight, they failed. I checked the damage. Left shoulder, grazed, bleeding, but nothing serious. My ribs ached from the crash, and my right hand was stiff from throwing punches. But I could still drive, still fight. I grabbed the CB mic, knowing full well who was listening. You still there, dispatch? A long pause, then, "Logan, you should have just delivered the package." I laughed coldly. "Yeah? Well, you should have picked someone dumber." "You think this is over?" "Not even close," I muttered. "You're out of time, Logan. You're in the system. Every satellite, every checkpoint, every agency with 3 letters in their name, they're all looking for you now." I tightened my grip on the wheel. "Good. Let them look. You won't last a week. We'll see about that." I cut the transmission. No more talking. I needed a place to hide, a place to think. There was only one person I trusted. I turned off the highway, taking a back road through the desert. After 30 minutes, I found what I was looking for. An old gas station, long abandoned, nothing but rust and dust. I pulled in, killing the lights, sitting in silence for a moment. Then I grabbed the hard drive from the lockbox. This was the key to everything. If I wanted to survive, I needed to know why they wanted me dead. I reached under the passenger seat, pulled out my old military laptop, and booted it up. It was time to see what was worth killing for. The files were encrypted as hell, but I'd learned a few things in my time overseas. It took me 20 minutes to crack the first layer. Then the first document opened. My stomach tightened. Operation Black Ice, 2009 to 2015. Classified military intel, CIA, oversight. I scrolled down, my eyes scanning the words, my pulse hammering in my ears. And then I saw the names, men I served with, men who were supposed to be dead, except they weren't. I kept reading. Each file was worse than the last. Black Ops missions that never happened. Kill orders without paper trails. And then, an old photo. A grainy surveillance image of a prison facility in the Middle East. Men in shackles, malnourished, forgotten. My chest went cold. The government had been lying. They didn't kill my team all those years ago. They kept them alive, detained, buried under black site secrecy. And now, they didn't want anyone to know, including me. I closed the laptop and exhaled, my hands tightening into fists. They sent an army after me tonight, and they failed. But now I had something they didn't want getting out. I had proof, names, locations, secrets they'd killed to protect. I reached for my burner phone and dialed the only number I still remembered by heart. It rang twice before a voice answered. "Jesus Christ, Logan, you shouldn't be calling me." "Yeah," I said. "I get that a lot." "Where the hell are you?" "Off the grid, for now." "You're all over the damn news, man. The government's saying you hijacked your own cargo. You killed feds, military. They're calling you a traitor." I clenched my jaw. "Do you believe that?" A pause. "No." "Good," I muttered, "because I need a favor." "You realize helping you is going to get me killed, right?" "Yeah," I said, "but I'm calling you anyway." Silence. Then, "What do you need?" I stared at the laptop screen, the names of my old team still glowing. I had a choice to make. I could disappear, vanish into the back roads, live like a ghost. Or I could go after them, the people who set me up, the people who sold out my team, the people who still had my brothers locked away. My grip tightened on the phone. "I need everything you can find on Operation Black Ice. Every name, every handler, every last detail." "Jesus, Logan, you're not thinking of..." "I'm not thinking," I said. "I'm doing. You go down this road, there's no coming back." I let that sit for a moment. Then I said, "I was never planning on coming back." A slow exhale on the other end, then, "All right, I'll send what I can. But Logan, whatever you're about to do, don't get yourself killed." I smirked. No promises. I ended the call, pulled the truck back onto the highway, and drove toward war. The world thought I was a dead man. The government wanted me erased, but they made a mistake. They should have killed me when they had the chance, because now I was coming for them.